Jerry McTigue is with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Toby. Thanks for inviting me on your show.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Now, can you just describe to us what exactly it is that you do?
I'm a an advertising copywriter. I'm an author. I'm a journalist, and I've written a book based on my career called Business Blather. Stop using words that sound good but say nothing, which I
Yeah,
think is a real problem today.
yeah, absolutely. I'm fed up of reading news articles in mainly highbrow newspapers and having to Google every other word.
Yes, especially acronyms.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many acronyms that even if you look it up, and I Google them all the time, and you look it up, and then a week later you see it again, and you forget. So you
Yeah.
have to look it up again and again. You know.
And sometimes when you Google them, there's no clear definition of what the right one is because there's
Yes,
so many. It could be any of them.
right. There are acronyms that have more than one meaning. Um, as any organization with the initials WTF will tell you.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, the World Trade Foundation. Don't know if that's a real thing, but I've came up with it. Maybe it is.
yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
hmm
So, what are the ways that these acronyms and stuff can be better expressed?
Well, by actually saying what the thing is.
Yeah.
Businesses, small and large, they assume that you have prior knowledge or they know what you're talking about.
Mm.
Um, but a lot of times they don't. And people just are, it goes right over their heads.
Yeah.
Um, for instance, there's an acronym. If someone says to you, our CMS will help you improve your KPIs, you say, well, what is that? Well, maybe it's better to say our content management system will
Yeah.
improve your key performance indicators. So
Yeah.
it's good to be specific because a lot goes by people today, and there's so much crammed into their heads that they can't readily, pick out the words that you're saying and get them together. My advice is when you're writing things in business, try to visualize it, try to
Mm.
paint a picture for people because if they can't see it in their mind's eye, a lot of times they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So you should use expressions that, analogies or things that paint a picture for them. For instance, you could say if you're selling something like a sales tool, you could say, we're your express elevator to sky high sales,
Mm.
which paints a nice image that say, oh yeah, wow, that sounds good. Or we have audio that rivals the London Philharmonic,
Oh, yeah.
and so it says something to you. You can imagine this orchestra and the wonderful sounds coming from it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I recommend is paint a picture with your
Yeah.
words.
Absolutely. And sometimes when these organizations are using acronyms, it can maybe be a bit disingenuous because, for all you know, these acronyms might be a warning that they're about to steal your money and everything, but you don't know it because it's an acronym.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think people use acronyms and business jargon, and I think it's a way to swagger. It's to try to sound cool and like you're with it. But aside from you, a lot of people may not know what you're talking about.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's always good to spell it out at first. And if you repeat an acronym, let's say in a report, or you spell it out the first time, and then you can use the initials after that if you just sort of establish it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. That's a good way of doing it.
and the other thing is companies kind of like beat around the bush. They don't want to come out and say what they mean. They
Yeah.
feel it's almost like a corporate culture where you have to sort of have drum rolls and lead ups and build ups to the big reveal. And by the time you get there, your audience is gone.
Yeah.
Uh, they lose their patience. Here's an expression a company um, a company said. They said we recontextualized our product iterations to address postnatal parental needs.
Ooh.
Well, they could just as easily have said, we're launching a new line of baby products,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? So they make it so difficult for you to understand. Um, I'll give
Yeah.
you another one. It's from an insurance company. They say, with our collective interdepartmental functionality, we possess the bandwidth to offer businesses the insurance modalities and feature sets you seek. Well, if you want to simply state it, they could have said, we're fully equipped to offer an array of commercial insurance products like group life, medical, workers' comp, business interruption, and more.
Yeah.
So the lesson here is citing the specific items is a lot more effective than vague characterizations of them. But for some reason, people feel like they have to, you know, kind of build up to what they want to say, and it just wastes everybody's time.
Yeah. So, in your book, what exactly do you cover? Because I'm guessing, it's not hundreds of pages of just don't do this.
And if you bring up a good point, because I actually wanted the book to follow its own advice, I wanted to
Yeah.
keep it clear, concise,
Hmm.
and entertaining and engaging, which business communications could and can be. Um, so I cover in the first part. I cover in general all of the things that businesses do that makes their communications so difficult to understand, and then I cite specific examples like I just did, and then
Yeah.
I give you a um, good solution of how to say it. And then in the second part of the book, I cover specific um, kinds of communications like
Hmm.
um, LinkedIn profiles, websites, emails, press releases, presentations, digital ads, print ads, sales letters, all those things. I take each one and I give examples of what not to do, followed by uh, examples of what you should do and how to keep
Yeah.
it clear, concise, and high impact.
Hmm. Is there an
So,
optimum level of language? Because, you don't want to use all these fancy words to confuse people, but at the same time, you still want to sound like you know what you're talking about, so you don't want to kind of
yes,
oversimplify the language.
right. You don't want to dumb it down
Yeah.
to a primary school level,
Yeah.
but you want to make it. You have to know your audience. If your audience
Hmm.
are very sophisticated, techie people, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
But if you're selling to someone like a CEO who's not really into the weeds, but who likes to, who's got the purse strings and is going to pay for the thing, um, you want to make it understandable for anyone involved in the transaction or um, the issue or the situation. You want them to understand it. So yeah, I agree. You shouldn't make it too simple,
Hmm.
but at least make it so everyone involved can understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where are we able to check out your services? Are they online everywhere?
Yeah, I'm. My name is Jerry McTigue. I'm a copywriter. But the book is available at Amazon.com in both paperback and Kindle. So,
Yeah.
and it's also distributed in the UK. So you can order it, or it's available at online bookstores or physical bookstores. So that's basically it. And
Yeah. And are you on any kind of social media as well for us to keep up with you?
I do have a website, and
Hmm.
I'm on Facebook, and um, I'm not on Twitter for some reason.
Oh,
But I haven't gotten around. I'm on Twitter for another business I have, but not for myself.
uh,
Um, but and Instagram, I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is for business people,
yeah.
and that's why I go into my book is very very important, and people don't realize how much LinkedIn factors in a lot of things these days, like
Yeah.
getting a job,
Hmm.
um, and promoting your business, uh, connecting with people. There's like 750 million of members, so
Wow.
uh, something not to overlook.
Yeah. That's a weird thing because I've never really known what LinkedIn is. It's just something that comes up when you Google a name and they seem to have a
Mm-hmm.
profile there. I'm not on it and I don't think it's as
Hmm.
big as Twitter, but it's interesting it's that popular.
Yeah, it's a business. It's totally business.
Yeah.
So it's like a Facebook for business, and people, post things just like Facebook. They post, you know, promotions and things that are happening with their business or
Yeah.
trends and things like that. And it's a good way to pick up a lot of good information, and it's free.
Oh
So
yeah.
who can argue that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thank
yeah.
you very much for coming on the show today. It's been great talking to you all about this.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it.